Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here with us this morning. Despite the focus of today's hearing being chemical innovation, there's been a lot of discussion from my colleagues centering around EPA's internal reorganization. I think it's important to clarify some of the facts, just for the record. And first among those, this notion that the reorg is something novel or unprecedented simply isn't true. EPA has reorganized in one way or another almost every decade since its creation in 1970. And I think it's entirely appropriate and certainly within the administration's authority to structure the agency in a manner that it thinks is the best able to respond to the current conditions and challenges. Second, as Chairman Babin noted in his opening remarks, EPA's Office of Research and Development still exists. It hasn't been disbanded, and several of its offices remain staffed. This is in addition to hundreds of other dedicated scientists who've been redeployed to other offices within EPA to better integrate science across the agency. Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to enter the EPA's organizational chart for the ORD into the record. It's current and was last updated on October 25th.
So ordered. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. When Administrator Zeldin took over the EPA at the beginning of last year, he inherited a backlog of 504 new chemicals in review that were beyond the statutorial required timeframes and over 12,000 pesticide reviews that were well beyond their expected timelines. Less than 10 months later, EPA has announced it significantly reduced the backlog. And the key here, I think we all understand, we're not looking to pencil whip things to get them out the door. We all obviously want things done safely, and it's a matter of just doing it efficiently. I would say we owe the administration an opportunity to see if they think they can find a better mousetrap to make the system work better. I think we should do it. Because it's clear the previous structure wasn't working. To me, Mr. Corkwell, your story to hear that Lubrizol waited 5 years for a determination that TSCA prescribes a 90-day review period is absurd. Dr. Gross, the 16 years you've waited on your application just is outrageous, and that's the kind of thing that just drives people crazy out there. We want it done right, but these clearly are. It's not functioning well, and the ambiguity I think is killing us. Companies can't afford such delays. In the private sector, time is money, and it's not all about money. Don't hear the wrong message. We obviously want to do things safely, but we've got to encourage innovators. And companies, a lot of times their literal survival depends on timely responses. As you had noted, Dr. Gross, just give us something. Take away the ambiguity, tell us which direction, but don't just stonewall us and let the air out of the ball. As a nation, America's ability to innovate and compete in the chemical space depends on a well-functioning EPA. And as Mr. Corkwell stated so well in his testimony, the U.S. must develop science-based, risk-based regulations that will incentivize the development of new chemistry that meets the needs of the market at the speed required. And EPA was failing our innovations, but thankfully there's a new sheriff in town. That's my opinion. I know that's not shared by all across the dais here, but I'm encouraged by what I see. And to that point, Ms. Bertram, from your vantage point representing nearly 200 American chemical manufacturers, how has prolonged regulatory uncertainty affected decisions by your ACC members about things like whether to maintain their investment production capacity or to take it elsewhere outside of the United States?
Thank you for that question. Over the last 10 years, since 2016, the number of new chemicals that have been submitted to EPA for review has declined by 67%. So this is what happens is that manufacturing companies have to decide if the United States is the right place to come to market. They might consider going elsewhere. They want to manufacture in the United States, but given the regulatory uncertainty, it can drive them overseas where they might have better clarity. If something comes to market overseas, it still cannot be imported into the United States, so it takes the entire value chain with it, so that the new innovations that can come out of that new chemistry are, by our laws, have to stay overseas. So we lose a lot.
Just in a follow-up a little bit to a question you were asked before, but just another bite at the apple here. In your view, what's the single biggest federal process that Congress can make change to the process that would restore our U.S. competitiveness in space?
U.S. competitiveness space, we need to have transparent, predictable, science-based regulations that are well understood.
Great. Thank you, Chairman. I yield back.